Okay. Looks like we're recording. All right. Thank you for bearing with me, everybody. Welcome to our inaugural Craft of Code. I think, as I've said before, the object here is kind of to give you kind of a brief introduction to, or I guess it's more like tips and tricks for how to use some of the tools that we use every day. Juniors especially, I don't want you to feel like you need to be understanding like every single thing that we go over here. It's, you know, like we're going to introduce this to you once, you're going to keep practicing with it. Hopefully I'm going to do this again in 7 weeks. So you'll have this exact same or similar thing again. The idea is more like now you've seen somebody do this at some point later. You'll be like, oh yeah, I remember that one time Colin did that thing. That would come in handy now. And you know, you have a place to reference, or you at least have the knowledge that that stuff exists. So I think we're all pretty, we at least all know what the terminal is at this point in time. I think some of us are kind of intimidated by it. It's only text. We're used to interacting with a computer in a graphical fashion. And I get that. I definitely feel the same still frequently. But I've become pretty fond of what you can do through the terminal. But let's just make sure that we're going to go through all of our basics. I've got a list here in the repo of kind of what I feel are some of the most important commands, the ones that I use every day. CD for change directory, helps me remember that. So we can use that to navigate to different folders. So I know that I've got a documents folder. So now I'm in my documents folder, and you can see that over here, that now it says documents. There's also some shortcuts that you can use with this. My favorite shortcut, and it blew my mind when I discovered this, is tab. Auto completes things on the terminal. So let's do another shortcut. CD squiggly line takes us back to our root or home directory, like the Colin folder. So here I'm gonna try and go directly to my hack reactor folder from here. I'm gonna say CD documents. Then I'm going to say /, and I know I've got a hack reactor folder in here. So I'm going to type HA. Now I'm going to press tab. It's going to autocomplete what's in there. So now I'm in my hack reactor directory. I'm going to start with HR. I think I'm going to press tab. You can't hear it, but it gave me a little error noise. The reason is there's more than one file in there that matches HR. If you double tap tab, oh, I did it twice, it's actually going to list out to you all the options. So I can say, oh, actually what I wanted was HRNYC. Don't even have to finish typing out that long name, tab. Now I'm in my toy problems directory. Blew my mind. So many people knew about it, and I didn't discover it until the senior phase. And I posted in the Slack. I was like, guys, and everyone was like, yeah, we all know Colin. It's like, why did nobody tell me? So then once we're in here, another really great tool is LS. I guess it stands for shortlisting, but it lists all your files. You've probably done that a time or two. So here are all the directories in my toy problems folder. I can also do ls-a, which adds an option to the ls command that tells it to show us the hidden files. So now you'll notice that now we've got these guys over here. Anything with a dot in front automatically gets hidden by the operating system. And let's just go back to documents. So we can cd ... takes us up one level. And we can use pwd, which is path to the working directory. That'll kind of tell us the path we're on. So I'm like, okay, I'm not at documents yet, cd ... again, pwd. Okay, now I'm in documents. Now we're gonna use the touch command. The touch command basically just makes a file. So I can say touch hello.txt, list it, and there it is, hello.txt. It's a completely empty file, but you can make a file instantly with one command like that. Then we can remove a file, remove hello.txt, and now it's gone. Then I'm not going to go super into detail about the rest of these. I do want to note that sometimes renaming a file is something you want to do. There's no rename command. You use the move command. So you do like, I guess let's do touch hello.txt, and then we'll do mv for move hello.txt to by.txt. And if we list that, we'll see now we've got a by.txt. So these are some of the ones that I think like most people should be familiar with. Sudo is one that is kind of important, but you probably aren't going to use in your day-to-day life until you start deploying stuff. But it allows you to run commands with like administrator privileges, which is sometimes important when you're running things on a remote server. So that'll come in handy. Now, let's get back to the shortcuts. So maybe like me, you have in the past found yourself, I don't know. Oh, that's a good shortcut. The up and down arrow take you through your history of commands. So here's kind of a long command. Maybe I realize I mistyped something. Now I want to try and like get rid of this whole line. So I'm like backspacing. You do not need to do that. There are other options. You can use Command K, which like completely gets rid of, oh, no, it doesn't. You cannot use Command K. You have to use Control U, which will clear from your cursor all the way back. There's also an equivalent one that will clear from the beginning of the cursor forward. And you can kind of look at those at your leisure. They're listed there. But I'd say Command K for just clearing out if you've got a whole history of commands. It can be nice to have that clean place to start again. And something else that I really liked is, oh, this could be weird because I don't have words. CD, hello, this is text. You can hold down Option and go left and right to kind of jump from word to word, which is kind of a really handy little shortcut. Awesome. So now let's talk really quick about some command line terminal tools that I think are really useful. You may have been introduced to Vim. Vim is a text editor. So we can do like vim hello.txt. That's going to open up a blank new text file. We can write whatever we want in here. Vim is a little different because there's those like specific commands where you can't just start typing away. You have to hit I first to insert and like start writing. And there's a lot of like weird nuances that I would, if you're interested in using Vim more, kind of look into that yourself. But the important thing is when you open it, you're in like command mode. So first you have to use the insert command to start typing. When you're done typing, you have to press escape to get out of typing mode. And then we can either do WQ, which maybe you've used before, which is for write and quit. Or if I don't want to save this file, or I don't want to save the changes I made, you can just do Q exclamation point. If you don't do the exclamation point, it's just going to say, like, give you a warning. If you do colon Q exclamation point, basically that's closing the file without saving. So Vim is really cool. It's a fast, easy way to edit some text. Seniors, when you're deploying stuff on a remote server, you're not going to have a GUI. So Vim can be a good way to quickly edit a file remotely. And then juniors, you might be using Vim to write your commit messages. And we'll go through that a little bit later. Next is curl. This is like a huge tool that does a ton of different things. But I'd say the reason I think it's useful in this program is that it can send HTTP messages, which is the same kind of language that your browser speaks. So if you were to direct your browser to google.com, you can do the exact same command by doing curl. I wonder if it'll work with just the www. I might have to put the https://google.com. Hey, look at that. It sent me back an HTML page. So it's really quick, easy, dirty way to, test out a server, test out a web page, something like that. And it by default sends a GET request. Juniors, don't focus too much on that. You'll learn about it later. Next is ping. A really easy way to basically test if you can communicate with. Oh, sorry, if there's stuff happening in the chat, I don't have the chat open. Okay, cool. I'll try and monitor that. Yeah, so ping is an easy way to test whether you can communicate with another IP address. That works with your local network as well as the actual internet. So for example, I know that 8.8.8.8 is a service that Google provides. So I'm going to ping it, and you'll see here, it's actually sending me the times of the responses. So if you're getting responses, you're connected. It can be a good way to test whether you can talk to your server when you've deployed something. And if you were to ping something like, I'm going to try something on my local network that I know doesn't exist. You're going to get these timeouts, meaning that you're not able to communicate with that thing. So you can use ping to check whether you can communicate with an IP address, and you can use netcat to check if a port is open. We'll do this again a little bit later. It'll make more sense because we'll have a server running. But at this point, if you want to follow along, I'd encourage you to go to the URL of this Git page and go ahead and fork the repo. Where's the chat? I'm going to throw in the chat again. Okay. Of course, I do not need to fork the repo because it is my repo. Now let's follow the instructions. Okay. Let's all make sure. I guess I'm just going to narrate this as if everybody's following along. You do not have to. So we're going to make sure that we're all starting from the same place. We're going to go back to our home directory using CD squiggly line. From there, we're going to navigate to our documents directory. Documents, we'll use their handy autocomplete. And here, we're going to create a new directory. So MK for make, dir for make directory. We're going to call it craft of code. Great. We're going to go into that directory. And we've listed, there's nothing in there. This is where we're going to clone our repo. So we're going to use the git clone command and paste in that URL. And we're going to list it, and we should see that we've got terminal git on the command line. Curious people that are attempting to follow along, can I get a thumbs on if you're with me? And if you're following along and you're not with me, give me a clear middle thumbs. I can wait a few more seconds. Coolio. All right. So yeah, we listed the contents of our craft of code directory. We see terminal gits in there. Let's go in there. And let's just list what's in here. It's like almost complete reflex to me to just like do a directory and then hit ls. All right, so here's our repo, the starting thing. The last part of the instructions is, we got to do ls -a, because I want to point out there's some secret Git files in here. Just want you to know that those exist in a Git repo. we're going to do npm install. That's going to install our dependencies. All right, everything worked okay. So what we're going to do now is we are going to create a really simple server using only the terminal. So can I get thumbs on people following along? We npm installed. Awesome. So over here, actually, this is maybe really small for people to see. Sorry. We're going to make some files, some folders. So do that however you want. I'm just going to make a server, and then I'm going to do touch server/server.js. Then I'm going to do make directory public. And was there in there? Yeah, okay, great. And then I'm going to do again touch index.html. And I'm going to touch log dot, oops, I put that in the wrong place. Public/log.js. I'm just going to do that again, public/index.html. Awesome. So now we should have a public folder and a server folder. We're going to first open up the server.js file. And I'm going to do this from this directory. I'm not going to travel down, but you could, if you wanted to, do cd server and then list the file and open the file. But because I'm a terminal wizard, I'm just going to do it from here. So vim, not even going to finish the sentence, tab, server, server. Again, I'm lazy, never even going to finish a file name. We've now opened vim. Oh boy. This is supposed to be blank. Apologies. Let's see if I can remember. I can't remember how to select everything and copy it out of Vim. I'm not going to do that. We're going to pretend like you came into a blank file. How did that happen, though? Oh, I know how that happened. My apologies. You probably also have a already built server file in here. So we're going to do rm server.js. Now we're going to touch server.js, and we're going to open it with Vim. There we go. Now we're going to take the code over in here. We're going to copy that. We're going to hit I for the insert command, and we're going to paste that. Once that's pasted in, we're going to press escape to go back into command mode, :WQ for write and quit. Cool. Then we're going to go back to public, and have a feeling these are also already complete. Did I grab the wrong? What happened was I went through this earlier, and I must have put the wrong git commit with the completed code up. So my apologies if this is already filled out. We're going to go through the steps anyways. Rm minus r felines rm index.html rm log.js. Okay, so let's do vim index.html. And again, we're just going to copy and paste our HTML code. And juniors, please don't worry too much about the content of these files right now. If you don't understand something about it, you'll understand later. It's not super important at the moment. I'll do vim log.js. Now here, the instructions just say, put a console login. So I'm going to write console.log, and I'm going to say, I am a terminal wizard. That's my amazing JavaScript skills. Cool. Okay, we're back in our root directory. How are our following along crowd doing? I'm sorry, I probably threw you for a loop there. With the files already being complete. So let's run our server now. We're going to say node, which is a command to run a file in node. And we're going to say server.js. Our app is listening on 3333. Cool. Let's test that really quick. So here in a separate terminal, because this is now running in this terminal, you can't use it for anything. If I type like, oh, did I accidentally stop it? No, it'll type, but like it won't actually execute any commands. So to stop that, you're going to use Control-C. And I'm going to navigate back in my history to use the same command again to start up that server. But just so you know, once you've got like a running process like this, you can't really use that terminal. So I'm going to switch over to another terminal. We're going to use netcat, which is NC. And I don't know what these mean, to be honest, but I know that this is like the nice, simple way to test if a port is working. So we're going to do localhost. We're going to put a space in 3333. So you basically say netcat -v -z. I don't know why. That's just how you use this simple command. Then you could put the URL, and then you're going to put the port. You'll see it says connected to localhost port 333 success. So what netcat does is it's a way to test whether like internet communication or like communication on a specific port at a certain IP works. Again, this will come in handy once you start deploying stuff. So know that that tool exists. Next, let's use curl to see what our server is sending back. So we use curl, and we can see there that our hello world HTML file is getting sent back to us and gets printed out right there on the console. Awesome. You've now made a server using only the terminal. Ooh, man, time is tight. I don't know if we're going to get super into Git here, but there's a couple things I want to touch on really quick about Git.
Could we see it in the browser, our server?
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see in the terminal over here that when we sent the request, the output was logged. That's because of like some code I put in there, but just to remind you that like that terminal is still running the server. And every time I refresh this, you're gonna see stuff happening over there. Cool. So as far as Git, what I really wanna show you, and feel free to like follow along with this later, we've now done a bunch of things to this project. So if we do git status, oh, I'm not in a Git repository. I'm going to stop my server. Git status. You've got all these things that are part of the status. And we want to make good granular commits, right? Nice specific things. So you don't have to just use git add dot, which I think we all know if we do git status, all of that gets added to our commit. You don't have to do that. You can do git restore staged dot. The dot is actually a shortcut that basically says my current directory and any children. So like anything that's inside this folder or inside a folder that's inside this folder that is in the status, add it. So we can do the same thing with git restore staged. We're going to do that, and now you'll see that everything's red again. You can use all sorts of other little shortcuts in this. So for example, I can do git add public slash, and that will only add the things that are in the public folder. Again, restoring back to nothing. You can also use the asterisks as a wildcard. So I can do crazy things like git add like asterisk.js. And you'll see only my JavaScript files. So that's basically saying anywhere in this directory or any children, any file, that's what the asterisk means, that ends with .js, add it. That's not the most helpful thing, but I will say sometimes it's really helpful when you have like, maybe you're committing something that's like really deep in some folders. You can do something like, but you only want to add that one file. You can say git add asterisk slash, and it basically says like search through any children directories for a file called, I guess we'll just say server.js, right? And then you'll see that I didn't have to specify that that was in the server folder. It looked for all the folders for anything called server.js. Cool. That's, I think, where I'm going to leave it. I highly encourage you to check out this link, chrisbeams.io, for like constructing a good commit message. I feel like it's really helpful in like figuring out how to like use commits well. And as they'll tell you on the job search, hiring managers will look at your commit history. So you want to have like nice, professional looking messages. Sorry, that went very long. Are there any questions I can take for 1 minute? There's a ton of extra resources in here, and I'm also very happy for anybody to come around and chat to me about any of this later. And I'd say juniors, you've got really important things to focus on, you know, unless you find yourself with like a lot of extra time. Don't feel like there's any requirement to complete any of this. Awesome. Okay, can I maybe get like a quick thumbs, like this was productive, this was like too much, maybe need some refactoring, and why did I come? Tim, he's still having his mind blown. Either that or he's.
No, I'm like semi listening, but I feel like for week one this is quite a lot.
It is definitely a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think data structures is enough, to be honest. So, but anyways, we'll talk later, Colin.
Cool. Thanks, Tim. Awesome. Well, we all have places to go, so enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you.
How do I stop the recording? There it is. Stop recording.